Welcome back. Hope you've enjoyed our previous segment talking about all things that make British Speedway British. Available to watch again. If somehow you missed it or you did watch it and you were a bit confused by it, you're welcome to watch it back again. Let's now turn attention then to Fans Pulse Lap 2, sponsored by Maitland Travel. Okay, a bit of a mixed bag once again, guys. So the first thing I wanted to bring up and talk about is I'm an analyst by profession. That's another story. But I'm an analyst, and I can't help myself sometimes to do a little bit of analysis, a little bit of research. And one thing I thought I'd have a look at is what is the makeup, the makeup in terms of nationalities of British Speedway in 2026. So I'll reveal my findings in just a second. But Rob, I'll come to you first. If I asked you, Rob, to guess what percentage of riders currently declared in a British side this season are British? What might your guess be?
Oh, British, 45%.
45%. Simon?
35 to 40%.
35 to 40. Well, let's dive in. I'm going to do this in reverse order. So I'm going to talk about the NDL first of all. So the National Development League. As you would expect, given it is the National Development League, you would hope that 100% of the riders competing would be British riders, right? You want to develop your own youth for very obvious reasons, as far as I'm concerned. Currently, there are all but, I think there are 40 riders out of the 42, the target 42 have been declared based on my recent research. And I'm pleased to say that all but four of them are Brits, born and bred Brits. There are, as far as I'm aware, there are 3 Australians and one Kiwi. Who there might be some dual passport nationality things going on that I'm not aware of. But so technically it might be a 100% of Brits. So no, I've got no qualms with the NDL at all, because that's pretty much its purpose, and that makes sense, at least to me. Let's move into the championship. So the championship, all 9 clubs have fully declared. All the lineups are tickety-boo. And here's a breakdown of nationalities based on my understanding of riders' nationalities, of course. So of the riders confirmed and declared in the championship, 34 of them are British, which equates to 54%. So 54% of the riders are British. 16 of them, which is 25%, are Aussies. And there are 9 Scandinavians, which makes up 14%. And there are four other nationalities. So let me just say that again. British, 54%. Australians, 25%. Scandinavians, 14%. So I don't know if that does or doesn't surprise anyone. And then diving into the Premiership, and this is the current team declarations. We still have Ipswich to name 6 riders, and we still have club number 6, fingers crossed, to name their full team. So we've got 29 riders declared out of the target number of 42, I think that makes it. So 69% of riders declared. The breakdown is as follows. British, 13 riders are British. That's a 44% of the current declared 29 riders.
That was the league I was thinking of when I said 40 to 45.
You were very close, Robert. You were very close. Australia. So let me give the percentages. So British, 44%. Australian, 41%. There's only one rider of a difference between Brits and Aussies. Scandinavians, currently there's only one, and there are 3 riders of a different nationality. And
you've got to remember, Derek.
Yeah.
Every team has to have a British number 7.
True.
So that puts the percentage right up.
Well, thank God for that. Thank God for that, I would say, Simon, yeah. And an interesting thought, and a little bit concerning as well. So, based on the current team declarations, had British Speedway been forced to or elected to amalgamate the leagues this year, we would have been 18 riders short as things currently stand. I think that's right. So let me read my notes. 18 riders. there are 18 riders named in a Premiership side who also have Championship places. That's what I'm trying to say. So there are 18 doubling up riders between Premiership and Championship. And therefore, in that amalgamated league structure, that would have been 18 riders that would have to have found over and above the riders at Ipswich and club number 6 are still looking for. So I thought that would be. I thought it was quite a little bit of. I thought that was remotely interesting. You would like to, maybe Simon. Would you hope, Simon? Would you hope that in the Premiership there would be more than 44% of British riders, and there might be. By the time that Ipswich and club number 6 declare the lineups, that 44% will probably exceed 50%. But is that a high enough proportion of homegrown talent, Simon?
Oh, of course it's not, because I bet if we looked at Polish Speedway, majority would be Polish, and the British percentage wouldn't even probably at 10%, would it? So this is the problem. You've got sort of what, Wolfie, Bewley, Robert, Tom Brennan to an extent. The only real Brits that have made it into Poland, like, let's say, top league. So that ain't going to be 10%, is it? You know, the rest of them be the Polish boys. So it speaks volumes, I believe. And yeah, I mean, obviously it might have been a bit higher had it gone one league and been 6-man teams. Obviously there'd be no top boys, but then obviously we perhaps wouldn't have to do set race nights either. So we could have, like we said earlier, we could be racing more regular, more trips, more meetings. When I say more trips, I mean like when I was Kings Lynn 2008, it was Kings Lynn Wednesday, Redcar Thursday, Edinburgh Friday, Workington or Berwick Saturday, and then either Glasgow or Newcastle Sunday. You dreamed of that, you know what I mean? 5 days from home on the road, it was what it was all about. Nowadays it's one meeting and then 2 weeks off.
Robo, just to bring you in for some comment on that, it kind of amplifies, I think, the general concern that supporters have. And to be fair, Rob Godfrey kind of acknowledged it as well, that ideally, doubling up's a bit of a necessary evil currently, and how and when and over what period of time they quite managed to get rid of it, I'm not sure. But it kind of amplifies, Robo, that we need many more British riders in British Speedway.
Yeah, absolutely, it does. I mean, well, I know they do try with the youth development and stuff, but there's just not enough interest in that. I mean, ideally we want, we need hundreds of riders coming through, not just 40 or whatever we've got. It's yeah. We do need more. It's difficult. It's expensive. It's dirty. People and a lot of people don't want to be in that kind of environment, or they want to go the motocross direction and just go and have a bit of fun on a weekend and then go back to work the following day. It's definitely need a lot more to come through. I know that.
You would get a massive reduction on your average, Stuart Robson. Do you know that? Massive.
Would I? Yeah. Well, maybe
Be 3-4 now.
Yeah, you can get back as a reserve or something, or work your way back up again. Yeah. No,
that would be great, wouldn't it? I don't know if it'd be worth the 10, 20 grand to buy new bikes as well, or and they need a bigger van. The van I've got isn't big enough, so it'll be. I don't know. It'll be good.
For 20 meetings, you need a grand a meeting, Robbo, just to break even for you.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. But I haven't been back on a bike since I retired. My last time on a bike was 2018 at Workington. I stepped off the bike. I've never been back on a Speedway bike.
You can still do it in a heartbeat, Stuart Robson. I'm sure you could. Yeah.
I'd like to think so. In my head, I can. That's for sure. Yeah. In my head, it's dead easy. When you're in your head, it's always easy, But when you get out there and try it again, maybe it's slightly different. The fitness level isn't the same as what it used to be. I'm not too bad for my age, don't get me wrong, but I'm nowhere near as fit as I was when I was riding.
Yeah, know your own limitations, sure. That's how I live life. Yeah, but let's skip on. So here's a Speedway headline that literally jumped off my Facebook feed this week, and the headline was "Polish Speedway killed English Speedway or killed British Speedway." That's the accusation reported by pronunciation question mark, Sportowy Onet or OneNet, a Polish outlet, and attributed to Matt Ford, who has recently, of course, returned to day-to-day involvement with Poole Speedway. Here's a couple of quotes from the interview with Matt. So let me just get the quotes for you. So the first one is, here we go. Right, quote, "The Extraliga TV contract alone is worth more to each club than I received for 20 years from TV broadcasts in Great Britain. The money there is huge." Matt went on to say, "When people criticise British Speedway and promoters, you have to look at the whole thing. How can anyone expect us to compete with Poland? The situation will have a very negative impact on Swedish Speedway. Sweden is one step away from being in the same situation as us. Until the 90s and the 2000s, the noughties, we were the two most important Speedway leagues. This is not a criticism of the riders. While clubs spend thousands of pounds per point and hundreds of thousands on signing fees, riders will accept it. Why shouldn't they?" And Matt did go on to lay much of the blame at the feet of British Speedway promoters of the past who failed to invest in the sport's futures on these shores. Simon, we've talked about Polish Speedway before, and it's a rip-roaring success largely. It's got all the sponsorship and media coverage in the world. We can only aspire to try to replicate elements of that potentially at best, but. I've got some sympathy with Matt's interview. It kind of feels like Polish Speedway has British Speedway and Swedish Speedway by the short and curlies.
Well, it has, yeah, to an extent, because I believe Nicky Pedersen, when he signed for Peterborough, when he got injured that year, I can't remember when it was, 2022, wasn't it, 23, I don't know, when he crashed in his first ride. They said if he rides for you again, you can pay 50% of his sign-on fee. It was like 400 or 500 grand, they reckon. So nobody's going to do that, are they? And that was a big name lost for us. But I just say it as simple as this: British Speedway do not help themselves. Simple as that. Yes, fans want to see the big boys. I understand that, but all these big boys are doing is taking the money out of the clubs, which is then making it harder for the club. So then the next year the price goes up and everything goes up. Yes, well, that's the world we live in at the minute. Your food shop goes up, your eating, your light, etc. all goes up. But if you took all the big boys away and you kept it on a more level playing field, the racing's still as good. It's more competitive. It might be a cheaper product to go watch, which puts more bums on seats. And do we really need to go with the Polish? If they don't want to ride in England, stuff them. That's what I say, stuff them. If we're not good enough, off you go. See you later. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye. Simple.
I like it. Rob, over to you, Rob. I guess that is what it is. And we've got to be accepting. It's Matt's opinion, as expressed in that interview, is pretty. It's pretty cemented now. It's a reality, right? It's just a reality. But can you ever foresee, Robbo, something changing that breaks that Polish stranglehold on Speedway? So, for example, something that might make riders favour riding in Sweden and Britain versus Poland, or a financial collapse in Polish Speedway, or even some sort of legal challenge or restraint of trade verdict raised by Swedish or British authorities.
At the moment, no, I can't see any of that. But I do hear now and again that riders still aren't being paid in Poland. There's clubs still owe riders money. I mean, how true that is, I don't know. You can get the best deal in the world, but if they don't pay you, you've got nothing, have you? So that would be the only way that I think that it's going to change. But you can't blame the riders. You can't blame the riders for going there. I mean, if you're getting paid £100,000 sign-on fee or more, whatever it might be, and £1,000 a point, or again whatever that might be, of course you're going to take it. You can't blame them. So that's unfortunate. I can't really see it swinging back the other way at the moment. I mean, I'd love it if it did. It'd be great, and bring the riders back, try and generate more clubs and more interest within the UK. But yeah, it's not really not really going in that direction at the moment, is it? It's kind of going the other way, really. Everyone's just flocking towards the Polish league, and they're ruling it, and they're saying, right, the riders they can only ride for one other club. You know, and it might come to a point where they'll say you're not allowed to ride for any other club if you want to ride for us. But they're going to get paid for what, £200,000-300,000 a year or whatever it might be to ride in Poland, so they can afford to do that. And yeah, well, you know, you can't blame them. But like Simon said, if the Poles don't want to come to the UK or wherever, it's not good enough for them. Then yeah, stop them. Let them stay where they are.
Do you know, life generally has got a habit of forcing change on things, and sometimes things that you could never in a million years have envisaged or predicted. So listen, I'm not, I just want to put on record, I'm not wishing for Polish Speedway to collapse or anything like that. I just want British Speedway to strengthen and start growing back again. So
Speedway in Poland is like football in England. It's that simple. Do you know what I mean? That's why the riders can get paid what they get paid. That's fair enough. The TV, they do it right. They do put a good show. The chants, the banter, the club shops, etc. That's brilliant. But why can't we get the crowds like that here? It's a bit like, not being rude, is it? So if I'm all right to ask this question then to all the thousands of Speedway 360 followers we've got, and send your answers to Derek because he'd get bombarded with them. Ty Wolfenden, Robert Lambert don't race in British League this year. Should they be allowed to ride in the British final? Somebody like me, it's a prestige meeting. We've had this chat for Robbo. It was always prestige. A lot of the top boys don't want to do it. Should they be allowed to do it? Would Bartosz Marzlik be allowed to ride in let's say, the Polish final if he didn't ride in the Polish Extra League? They'd lock him up and throw away the key. Of course they would. But because they're the big names in England, you know what I mean? Fair play to Bewley. He rides here every week, so he should be in it. Yeah, it should be a different track, but it is what it is. But is it right that they ride in it just because they're the big English names, but they don't want to ride in England? What's the logic in it?
Yeah,
what's everyone else's thoughts?
The man's asked you the question, so humour him, please. Do comment below and share your view on that. Should Ty Wolfenden and or Robert Lambert be eligible to compete in the British final? Simon, have you ever considered, Simon, claiming to be Robert Lambert's elder brother? Get a big contract out in Poland.
I get asked all the time, are you Robert's brother? I say, no, we just share bank accounts. That's it. No. No.
He's got a
bit weird when I'd have to be the milkman's or someone because I'm 6'1" and he's 5 foot. Do you know what I mean? It'd be a bit,
Oh, I love it. Listen, I hope you're enjoying the discussion. Regardless of how you are watching or listening, please do hit that little thumbs up button below. Lambo, tell them, hit that little thumbs up button below. Robbo, tell them.
Thumbs up button. Keep
Please
pressing it. Tell all your
hit that
friends.
thumbs up button. Do it for them if you won't do it for me. Right, okay,
Do it for Derek. We all do this for love. We all do this for the sport, for the passion, and Derek puts all his time into this. So we back Derek and you back us.
Oh, yeah.
Do it for Derek. Yeah, that's the chant.
Do it for Derek. Hit the thumbs up for Derek.
Go on. Let's have a record-breaking number of thumbs up on this particular discussion. Right, this video has to have more thumbs up on YouTube than any other in the history of 360. Right, okay, let's move on. There was some really positive reaction to last week's discussion with those representatives from Speedway Fans Network UK. Our thanks again to Sam, David L and David U for bringing those efforts to our attention. You will be pleased to hear that over the weekend, 360 Speedway and Speedway Fans Network UK were contacted by Premiership CEO Phil Morris. Thank you, Phil, to acknowledge the concern raised. Hopefully, Phil will be able to take forward and help unblock that current feedback loop that was highlighted last week, and that will encourage the fans groups to continue to look for and collate and send on supporters' ideas to Phil or indeed into the BSPBL. So once again, thank you, Phil, for taking the time to get in touch. And who knew that Phil Morris never misses an episode of 360 Speedway? Phil Morris, God bless you. Thank you very much.
Derek, maybe you should try and get him on.
I would love Phil Morris. Phil, listen, right, okay, let's put that to the test. So Phil Morris, you never miss an episode of 360. You'll be watching right now as I look into cut camera with my puppy dog eyes. Phil Morris, will you message me or send me an email, and we can maybe line up getting you on 360 once things settle down, and maybe you've got 10 minutes to yourself. We can bring you on and have a bit of a chat. Over to you,
Wednesday
Phil.
night, 8 o'clock.
Over to you,
Live.
Phil. Well, we've got a little bit of live next week, Phil, if you want to step into a Facebook, a live discussion next Wednesday night. Robbo, just on that on that theme about the supporters and what they're trying to do, we can only hope that something really good comes out of it. There are lots of eager, highly capable, well-connected and skilled Speedway fans around the UK, and they come from all walks of life, with all different levels of experience from life and from work and all that good stuff. And quite often sometimes we all benefit from fresh eyes and fresh thinking. And ultimately, all the ideas that are generated are well intentioned, and surely they deserve, Robbo, to have some due care and attention and some acknowledgement. And whether they're taken on or whether they're not, to have some feedback as to the reasons why they were not deemed to be viable, for example, would be something that they can learn from.
It definitely would. It definitely would. I mean, like you just said, there's all sorts of people go to the Speedway. There's loads of business people, men, women, successful businessmen and women go, and they want to break from their job, their normal life, and they go to the Speedway, and that's their enjoyment. I've met a lot of people in the past who've done exactly that. Very successful people, and they of course they're going to have ideas. They run businesses. That's what they do. And at the end of the day, Speedway is a business. Although it's a sport, it's still a business. And you can but listen to them. They might come up with something good, and like you just said, there might be reasons that they can't go down that particular route for they might have been tried in the past, or legal reasons, or whatever it might be. I don't know. I mean, but it's definitely worth a listen. You always have a little. When I was racing, I always took on advice. I always listened to advice. I didn't always take it on board. So I didn't have to try it. It's the same in life, isn't it? In walks of life, you listen to advice, and you can analyze it yourself and think, yeah, I could try that, I could do that, or no, it's not going to work for this reason or that reason. So, yeah, why not have a listen? It can't do any harm, can it? It
can. Listen, we're only limited by our own imaginations, but sometimes we need the benefit of someone else's imagination to inspire us, and you know what I mean. Anyway, hopefully, thanks again, Phil, and hopefully something can be done to help to encourage the generation of future ideas. Simon Lambert, back to you. The last time you were on 360 a couple of weeks ago, Simon, you shared the news that you would be skippering Kings Lynn's national development side this season. I just wanted to go full circle and ask you, since the news broke, Simon, what's been the sort of general sponsor reaction to you stepping into to skipper the young stars, or whatever they're called these days?
Well, everyone around me in my camp are pretty cool about it. More rides, more bike time. Obviously, the power of social media. You always get a few. There's a few criticisers. There's a few lovers, a few haters, let's say. But it's like I said. If there wasn't me, Jake Mulford, Alfie Battel, Jack Smith as such, if you want to call us the has-beens, whatever you want to call it, I don't care, whatever. There wouldn't be enough riders to fulfil six teams. So yeah, 5 home, 5 away. There wouldn't be enough riders to fill a 6th team, so there'd only be 5. We all said, development league, there should be all the youngsters coming through there, and it should be 100% British without being rude, as well. My only concern for that is, let people think what they want to think. I'm not bothered. I'm just going to go and earn a few more quid, enjoy riding my bike, and pass on a bit of knowledge of what I've learned over the years. As simple as that. But my biggest concern is, like we said this, we touched upon this. Seth Norman, prime example. Ollie Binns. They get 10 meetings next year. Robbo knows yourself. Your first year, you're a bit jittery. You're learning. You have a few crashes and cock-ups here and there. If they go and perform towards the end of the year, that's fine. But then where does it take them next year? Because 10 meetings isn't going to make them a fully fledged professional speedway rider. Are they then going to be chucked in at the championship next year and they're at the depth? That is the problem. They needed a full season, 20, 30 meetings to keep progressing. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
10 meetings isn't enough for them. It's nothing because I want more meetings or anything like that. But for them riders, it's just not enough. And that is the problem, It's a shame BELLE VUE, best track in England, really, one of, not running. It's always a pleasure to ride there. And the stadium, we spoke about what's British Speedway and all that. It's a massive thing for a kid to ride there. So yeah, very tough. But yeah, there's been a lot of constructiveness about it, and there's been a few shouldn't be doing it. It's ridiculous. But at the end of the day, like I've always said, if people can do better than me, they're welcome to come have a go. We'll have a race, and we'll race for a job.
Well, you did say, Simon. I remember you saying at the time that you said to Kings Lynn that if there were other options available to them, that you would give way and let those younger guys get the gig, right?
100%. He rang me for Mickey's number. I gave him that. He said, "Were you fit?" I said, "Well, you still need to ring Mickey now because I'm not taking a job off my mate either." So simple as that. I've got morals. So if you're sure or whatever you need to want to fill up, just we'll talk, and that's where it led. So I think they were expecting Luke Harrison to perhaps be number 1, but he said he didn't want to do it because he's going to concentrate on Poland. But again, most speedway riders, they think you hear the name Poland, they think they go to Poland, they think they've made it, they've done it, they've hit the big time. But how many of them riders, like I say, are actually ever hit the big time? You've got a few special people. I think the next big Englishman to say conquer Poland is the word will be Cooper. But anyone else, it's a bit of a short list at the minute, I think. So it's all right doing the under-24 league. It's not massive money. It's good experience and everything for them. But when they're over 24 or whatever it is, none of them really get used. They're only there to fill the numbers up. So it's tough, isn't it? It is tough. But
someone will emerge from the pack this season. I'm sure it always happens. Someone will really, take off this season, and
there's always one. There's always one or two that shine.
Exactly.
But like I say,
someone will have the beating of you, Simon. That's what I'm trying to say. Someone will.
I hope they do, mate. I hope they all do. Like I said to you, there's maybe 4 of us with big targets on the backs, but it's got nothing to do with me. At the end of the day, I've said this before, and I'm a realist and I'm honest, and I say it as it is. That Ollie Binns and Seth Norman are in the arrivals lounge. I know I'm heading towards the departure lounge. I'm cool with that. But while I can still do it, like Robbo said, while I can still do it, I still want to do it. I've still got the fire and the hunger in my belly to do it, and I've got the great sponsors and backing around me. I'll keep going until I can. So we'll see. But like I say, I just don't want 10 meetings to go destroy kids further down the line.
Yeah. Good line. Listen, wait to get to mine, Simon. I'm in a whole different departure lounge, but we won't go into that. Now let's move on. The British Under-21 Championship news. It was confirmed this week that 8 youngsters, as you have to be to compete in the Under-21 Championship, have been directly seeded to the final, which will be staged at Redcar on Sunday the 7th of June. Those lucky 8 to be directly seeded are Luke Harrison, Luke Killeen, Vinnie Ford, Freddie Hodder, Ace Piper, Ben Trigger, William Cairns and Jody Scott. The remaining 8 places will be contested in the semi-final to be staged at Leicester, date to be confirmed. And just to highlight that meeting, the British Under-21 final at Redcar, will be staged the day after the second Grand Prix in Manchester. So potentially a cracking weekend full of Speedway. You could have back-to-back GPs at the National Speedway Stadium, followed by a trip to sunny Redcar. Talking about British youth, it's been really pleasing actually for me personally, for reasons that become obvious, and for hopefully for many of you watching and listening, to see some photos and some videos this week from a sunny but very chilly Ashfield Stadium in Glasgow. That's 20 plus young riders in the truest sense took part in a 2-day Young Lions training camp under the tutorship of a couple of real veterans. Tom Brennan and Leon Flint were passing on some advice and some tricks of the trade. The event itself included some on-track tuition, as well as some classroom-based education in bike prep, fitness and nutrition. So I really hope that, obviously a lot of dedication and expense, I would imagine, goes into travelling up to Glasgow and spending a couple of days to take part in the training camp. I hope that all of those who attended and their families have really benefited from the experience. That certainly seems to be the case based on some feedback that I've picked up. If you were involved, please get in touch. Let us know firsthand what that training camp was like, what you gained from it, and we'll share it on 360. Robbo, bring you back in. So these organised and structured training camps, Robbo, as they're now called, they really seem to be the way to go. They do it in Poland, they do it in Britain, and we're quite adept at it in Britain as well. The track time and classroom approach seems to really kind of hit the mark. But was that a thing back in your day, Robbo, or do you, based on what you've seen of them outside looking in, is it something you would have liked to have benefited from?
In my younger day, it would have helped me out loads. I was fortunate. I had an older brother that was racing, and I did get a lot from him. And my dad used to ride a long time prior to that as well. So I did get advice in that respect, but not the way these training schools were. So in my younger day, my training days, I used to basically go to Burrington Lough, that is, and Redcar, or Middlesbrough as it was then, and Newcastle every week, and get out there after the meeting. If there was time, I'd get out, do a few laps. Sometimes I'd get no laps, there was no time. Sometimes I'd get 4 laps or 16 laps, whatever it might be. It varied. I didn't really get any kind of tuition. I used to literally just go out and do my own thing, and that was that. But towards the end of my career, I did take I was sort of involved a little bit in 1 or 2 of them schools. I'd one at Boston and I did one in Macon in France. The one at Boston I enjoyed a lot more. I kind of got myself a bit more involved, and it was good fun. I'd never been, not Boston, sorry, Buxton. It was great fun, and I'd never been up to there before. And what a place that is. It's out in the middle of nowhere. What a sort of scenery around it. Was great. So that was a really good day. Me and Gary Havelock, we did that one together, and I thought it was great fun. The one in Macon, France, I didn't really get myself involved as much. I don't really know why. I think I took my own bike out to do a few laps as well. I can't really remember now. And I didn't really get involved as much, but it was my own fault. I should have done, and it would have been nice to have been involved more, because I kind of enjoyed that. That was a direction I wanted to go in and try and bring the youth on, do some more of these training camps, and do the classroom side of it and all that, because that is equally as important. Races are won off the track, not just on the track. They're won in the workshop, and obviously your nutrition, your fitness, and all that type of stuff, which has really came big over the last few years. Well, probably 10 or 15 years mainly. It's a lot more professional about it all, and the approach to it is much bigger and much better. So it would have been good to have been involved a bit more. I never really did anything after the one in Macon, but And maybe one day I could start doing it again. I'm just too busy working at the moment. Unfortunately, I'm not financially stable enough to not have to work, which is a bit of a shame because I would love to be back involved in the sport again.
You know, I see myself on camera every single week, and I have done for almost a year now. And a fitness and nutrition camp might be something that I should sign myself up to. But I'm doing my best. Right, let's move on quickly. Ipswich fans, how are you all sleeping out there? Last week, Chris Louis did provide a bit of an update, as much as it is, and apologise for the continuing delay. And Chris confirmed that the club sale has been stalled due to the renewal of the stadium lease with their landlord Speedworth taking longer than expected, but which has now been signed. This means that the sale of the club can now be completed, and it's expected to happen over the next couple of weeks. And even more encouragingly, perhaps, Chris went on to say they, the new owners, are nearing completion of the 2026 team and have 5 confirmed team members, with the final 2 nearing completion. And Rob, I'm going to bring you back in again because I'm going to credit you with this, Rob, because for the last 2 or 3 episodes, every time you've mentioned Ipswich needing to do a bit more comms within about 24 hours, that's exactly what's happened, Robert.
Yeah, is Chris watching this, do you think? If he is, yeah, come on, really some names. Give us something, Chris, come on. We need it done. I mean, they need to sort of to keep the interest. Even if it's a slow drip feed, maybe 1 name a week for the next couple of weeks. Give the riders something, the fans something. Sorry, and get some kind of announcement. Obviously, the big announcement of the new owner that has to be wait till all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, so to speak. That's understandable because it could fall through at any time for something silly reason. So until it's all complete, you can't really say anything about it. Totally understand that. But come on, give us a hint of some riders.
Well, listen, Witches fan, I've got a view on this Witches fan. So you've been super patient because you've had to be, right? But could you yet have the benefit, or could Witches yet have the benefit of waiting to complete your side? Because 4 of the other 5 clubs, there might be a 6th club, but 4 of the other 5 clubs currently confirmed have completed their lineups. Does that now allow Ipswich to potentially flex and change their team building direction to counter what the other teams have built? Get in touch, Ipswich fans, if you think there might be something in that. Simon Lambert, do you think there might be something in that? Is there any potential advantage after all this time to Ipswich now still having to announce their team imminently?
No, not really. I mean, we could all sit here and guess their team, couldn't we?
We could, yeah.
I'm intrigued to think or to know who the number 1 will be. I'll be honest. Obviously losing Emil and losing, Doyley, whoever it.
Can I ask you about that, Simon? I mean, do you think they've lost Doyley? Because I imagine there must be some Witches fans secretly wishing that, or secretly hoping that that Jason will sign a Witches contract.
I would believe so. I mean, he made a public statement, didn't he? I see him before Christmas, and he said he's got to do something because I think are they allowed to ride only for so many teams or something? He's got Poland, he's got the Grand Prix, I think he's got Sweden, I think he signed for Denmark. So I know he likes to be busy, but I don't know if he's allowed to ride for England. I mean,
I think Brady Cox is doing the same.
Okay, well, maybe he'll come back, and if the deal's right, who knows? But and that'd be great. But if he doesn't, who's he going to be? I heard that they asked my brother, and he said no. But listen, yeah, who knows? Like I say, I would imagine maybe Tom be back and Danny King, but other than that, I'm a bit stuck. I mean, obviously the 6th team I think will be made up of the riders that were perhaps here last year and are not here, might not have a big number 1, but it doesn't really matter, does it? We want as many teams as we can get. But yeah, even I'm at a bit of a guess with the Ipswich team. I would take a guess and take a pundit that Mr. Nichols might be back there.
Oh, interesting. And he's
not got any TV conflict of interest, does he? Because there's no TV deal. So maybe he'll go back, old boy, old town's hero, put bums on seats, and he still knows his
Scott
way.
Nichols. Why
Yeah.
not? Why doesn't he? He's still a fit and capable guy. Why not? And he's been on holiday
He's riding for Plymouth,
months
isn't he?
out in
So
Australia. He'll be well rested. Yeah, yeah. Well,
if I was
listen,
a gambling man, I'd probably guess he'll be there.
Well, listen, Witches fans, could this be the week, right? Could this be the week where you learn at least who your club owners are and maybe even a rider or three? Could it happen this week or next week, Witches fans? Keep across social media, fingers crossed for you. Let's move on. Merely an observation. I'm not being mischievous, but merely an observation. It's now a full month since our sit-down interview on all things British Speedway with BSPL chairman Rob Godfrey, who came, who I enjoyed talking with Rob. And if you're looking in, Rob, I'm not being mischievous, I promise, but I just wanted to address the elephant in the room because although Rob didn't put a specific timeline on it, Rob did indicate that he was pretty 99% and 90%, I think, with the figures, confident of two WOW announcements or WOW initiatives being announced. So I'm just an observation. We're a month on, haven't heard anything. So fingers crossed that as I just said about Ipswich, that could this be the week where we hear at least one of those WOW announcements that puts a spring in everybody's step in British Speedway. Fingers crossed. Just a reminder, we need you to be live stream ready for Wednesday night. We plan to do a live stream episode of the final month of every week, which will be next week for the month of February. No script, no agenda. We will take your questions and comments absolutely live. So we will post the links to it on Facebook, but it will be hosted on our YouTube channel. So to be able to comment and generally interact, we need you to be live stream ready. So you need to subscribe ahead of next Wednesday night, which is when we plan to go live for the month of February. Remember, it's completely free. Subscribe, doesn't cost you a penny. Guys, we're nearly at the end of Fastball's lap 2, I think it is. At least we now have some eve of season fixtures, and we're beginning to look at some lineups being formed as well, beginning to land on the fixture list. Monday the 16th, Sunday the 15th of March, I should say, things kind of kick off at Kings Lynn, the Nikolai Clint testimonial meeting. I know there's a lot of 360 Speedway fans who have been telling me that they will be at Kings Lynn to support Nikolai. Hope everything goes well for you, Nikolai, on Sunday the 15th of March. The following night at the National Speedway Stadium, the Peter Craven Memorial Trophy will be held this year. Riders named so far include the holder and world number 2, Brady Kurtz, alongside his BELLE VUE teammate and world number 3. That's an impressive duo, isn't it? Dan Bewley. Fellow aces Zach Cook, Norik Bladorn, Peter Kildement and Tate Ziske are in the lineup, as are former aces Max Frick and Tom Brennan and ex-world number 2 Frederick Lindgren. Tickets are on sale now via the BELLE VUE Club website. 2026 Ben Fun Bonanza is just over 5 or 6 weeks away. Saturday the 28th of March, tapes up 6 p.m, sponsored by Allied Vehicles and being staged at Glasgow's Ashfield Stadium for the first time since about 2018 or thereabouts. Only 3 riders confirmed thus far. Chris Harris, Peter Kildemand, plus the defending champion Tom Brennan will be in action on Saturday the 28th of March in Glasgow. Tapes up 6 p.m. if you're travelling. A range of sponsorship opportunities are available and some associated prices as well. To inquire or to book, please contact the Speedway Riders Benevolent Fund via their Facebook page or via email to the Ben Fund Bonanza, all one word, Ben Fund Bonanza @yahoo.com. Talking of BELLE VUE in Glasgow, we are sending our very best wishes to top Speedway track guru and member of the 360 Speedway team, Andy Meredith. The poor lad has done himself a mischief recently and he's been in hospital. He's now home and hopefully already on the road to recovery. Andy Meredith, get yourself fit and well, and we certainly look forward to seeing you back behind the mic on 360 Speedway. Talking about Manchester, still on the theme of Manchester, if you're fancying taking in some of the Speedway Grand Prix atmosphere in Manchester, on Friday the 5th of June and Saturday the 6th of June, get your gating gloves at the ready because BELLE VUE have confirmed that tickets for the ATPI FIM Speedway of Great Britain will go on sale later this month. So keep your eyes peeled on, certainly on Belle Vue's social media, and grab your tickets online for the biggest weekend of Speedway in the UK in 2026. And listen, I think that says a bit of a whistle stop tour around the houses. We can't wait on 360 Speedway for the season to actually get underway, and we can actually talk about riders and events and incidents and results and all that good stuff. Right now, we feel that we're on in a kind of holding pattern, but we're trying to keep our eyes on any moving parts week to week. So bear with us as we try to pick off and keep some of that fresh and interesting for you guys watching out there. Stay with us for Principals Lap 3, which will also start shortly. No need to do anything. We will be talking Speedway and travel with the owner of the ever popular Maitland Travel.